guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. I am muted because I still am at TD Garden after Celtics versus Hawks game 2. We are recording on, what date is that? Today's Tuesday, April 18th. Right
April
after the
18th.
game.
Shout
There you
out
go.
if you know about April 18th. Go ahead.
We are here. We promised day after pods. And since I was at the game, it was either now, while I'm still at TD Garden and there are other people around, so apologies if you're listening to me, or once I get home, which would be 2 a.m., which means Sam would not be having a fun time at work the next day.
Probably still won't, but all about the people. So what are you going to do?
We are here, though. But before that, I jinxed myself today on the way in. I was taking the red line, moving at a brisk pace, very excited. And then we stopped. And then we stopped again. And then we slowed down. And then we stopped again. So for Jared and for Landon and for everybody who enjoys the red line, the T complaints, there you go. Horrendous. Shout out, I would put it on the rat list, but it's been on the rat list so many times that I need something new because it's getting old. So disaster today.
The red line is canceled.
Yep.
Cancel the red line.
I agree. I concur.
Jack just sat through the post-game press conferences. If you're on Twitter, you've seen him putting out the many quotes throughout the pressers. Does an excellent job getting them down. Impressive. Do you use an app for that, or do you?
The ones I tweet out is just me typing as I talk, trying to go really fast.
Very impressive.
I'm trying my best, man.
That is very impressive. But as Jack, as you can see, Corrales in the background, as Jack, sat through the press conferences, I had to kill some time. So one, I watched the end of Knicks Cavs, which was a murder. Almost literally, they almost killed Julius Randle, which is much crap on him. He got undercut on a dunk, and I did not like to see that. But then I had to watch some more gore as I waited for Jack. So what did I do is I watched that Hawks 76ers series from a couple of years ago because I'm watching the Celtics play the Hawks, and I'm like, how the hell did this team beat anybody? Never mind beat the 76ers, who were the number 1 seed that year. And I watched it.
Yeah.
Embiid was a disaster in that. And of course, Simmons was. Like, everybody remembers Simmons not dunking and Simmons missing free throws. He was like 2 of 16 in game 7, I believe. But Embiid was just as bad. Embiid missed 2 free throws at the end of game 5. Like, crazy stuff from the 76ers to lose to Trae Young and the Hawks. I truly can't believe how similar that team is to the team that's out there against the Celtics now.
It's almost the same, right?
Trae Young is still there. Herter is not. They still have Bogdanovich, still have Capella, still have John Collins. Lou Williams is no longer.
No Gallinari because he's on
no
the Celtics.
Gallinari. Well, he's here. He's just hanging out in a suit. He looks dapper as always.
I think that's about who was their backup center. Was it Kongwu yet there yet, or was he?
Kongwu was there.
Okay, interesting. So, like, it feels like all of the rotational pieces who got minutes are still on this Atlanta team,
and
so
McMillan's gone.
That he is.
Watching the Hawks is funny. I will say it's just like a very strange experience as a team that is oddly probably better without Trae Young on the floor, but not in that series. Trae Young actually was pretty good, made some clutch threes against Philly. Watching it back, can't believe it's watching the same player play basketball. It's like me when I'm in my prime with no knee pain, which we all get to see on Sunday, and me when I'm washed with knee pain. We had a good run Sunday.
We did. I feel like I didn't play that well. I feel like I played bad. I don't know. I mean,
you made some threes. You were clutch
I made
overtime,
1 3.
Jack.
I only made 1 3.
Jack said to me, "Don't give me the ball. I'm just going to play defense, and I'm not going to play offense." And then Jack proceeded to score on 2 straight offensive possessions in overtime. And we, as a team, sealed the victory.
A comeback victory, might I add.
Yes,
we were comeback. We played 2 15-minute halves, and we were down by 8. By 1s and 2s, but down by 8 at halftime,
which is essentially like 12 to 15 points in a real game.
Good. It was very good, and I will say, don't give me too much credit. The only reason I scored is because they put Ray on me, and I don't know if Ray listens to this.
Graham does.
That's disrespectful.
Ray's grandma
disrespectful. Oh, really?
She watches their pregame streams on Facebook.
Oh man, well, I'm sorry, Ray, great guy, but could not guard me in the post. It was a disaster for him. I had to make him pay for that.
Not very athletically gifted. Very much looks like McLovin. Shout out to McLovin, who got engaged at the Celtics game in Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
He was there.
Yep. I will say
something.
I'm also not athletically gifted. I'm just taller. Like that's just what it is. I was just able to go over.
You push people around a little bit.
I'm Lucas Swole. Let's call it. Let's not get it twisted.
Hey man, what are you gonna do? Like you just take what you can get sometimes, right?
We take those. That's a win. A win is a win. But anyways,
win is a win. 2 wins or 2 wins. Game.
Wow, look at that. That's a beautiful transition work from you, Sam. It's amazing.
Don't worry about it. I thread the needle.
Game 2 on Tuesday night. Celtics arguably more dominant. I mean, they were both technically 13-point wins. On Saturday, they were up by 30, got it cut down, bounced back, won by 30. This game 2, they were kind of running line in line with the Hawks for a little bit. Fourth quarter comes, blow it open completely. Well, no, they were up by a decent amount in the first half. Hawks going a little third quarter run, similar to what they did in Game 1. Jonte Murray didn't miss. Bogdanovich didn't miss from 3. And then fourth quarter, Celtics blow it open, get a ton of turnovers, run out in transition, make them pay. Jayson Tatum did miss a couple layups, which was a little bit baffling, but just dominated. Up by 22, I think. Yeah, there you go. Up by 22, I think was the peak. Ended up winning by 13 again, which is a bit weird, but dominant showing again from the Celtics. Just so clearly the better team in this series.
Yeah, and Derrick White points to watch in the fourth quarter. We don't have to dive right into Derrick White because I know
he do that?
No, he didn't.
I thought
but he did have a monster fourth quarter, and he really was a prime reason why the Celtics didn't collapse today. They tried kind of hard to try and collapse, but then Derrick White said no. He made a bunch of threes and consistently drove to the basket and finished through traffic, bodying guys out of the way and hitting little floaters over them. But as a whole, this to me was a more impressive game than Game 1, which is funny because halfway through Game 1, we all said sweep. But then they came out tonight, and they really didn't start well. It was pretty frustrating to watch the beginning of this game. The Celtics went down double digits in the first quarter.
I forgot about that.
Randy ran to Twitter and said how the Celtics never win when they go down double digits, which statistically is true. And then they came back and started trying, but they were giving up a ton of offensive rebounds early. Not what you want to see. Didn't love that. That was a theme throughout tonight's game is offensive rebounds. Mm-hmm. And going forward in the playoffs, you really can't afford that. Atlanta missed a ton of shots against you today. But aside from that, I thought the Celtics played a really dominant game. They were in control of the ball. It didn't feel like they turned the ball over a ton. I could be wrong, but I don't think they racked up the turnovers. They were sloppy a bit early, tightened it up, and started just getting quality looks. I thought you got really great contributions from just about everybody that stepped out there tonight. Marcus Smart,
14 turnovers.
Okay.
Not terrible. It's not great, but
I think a couple of them came at the end of the game when the Hawks still wanted to try when they were down 20 with no time
Missoula
left.
Made a point.
Then they wanted to try.
Yeah, Missoula also made a point that a couple of those, or at least a few of them, were like dead ball turnovers. Like they weren't turnovers where the Hawks were able to run out. They were like offensive foul or stuff like that. So that's not as concerning. Anyway, sorry. Continue. Just point that out.
Yeah. So Marcus Smart built off a tremendous Game 1. He looked like he was back in Game 1. He looks even more back after today. I don't have the box score in front of me, but I can tell you
14 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 6 of 11 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3 for Marcus Smart.
Excellent game. How many turnovers?
Marcus Smart had 1 singular turnover.
Good. So excellent game all around from Marcus. And again, he is doesn't count everything in the stat sheet guy. He was all over the place, making things hard for Atlanta. Had a few super impressive defensive plays, whether it was saving the ball, stripping guys. His passes were on point. He could have had far more assists. There was a couple of plays where guys sold. Tatum missing layups. But really, he looks like he's back to what he's been doing best, setting guys up, playing defense, playing hard, and leading by example with the Celtics like he was earlier in the season. We're not seeing hobbled ankle Marcus Smart in this first round. You're seeing Marcus Smart who is like, okay, I want to get my number retired, so we need to win a title. He's excellent. And you can't deny he's making his threes. Again, Derrick White, another guy in the
I want to do a whole
backcourt just
section on
lighting it up.
White.
Derrick White is found money. We can get into it because
let's do it.
We texted about this during the game, and you said it, and people on Twitter have been saying it. Derrick White is the concrete third best guy in the Celtics, and he's so much the third best guy in the Celtics, which is not a knock on anybody else on the team because Rob also will talk about him. It's been fantastic.
Good.
But Derrick White is a guy you can give the ball to and rely on him to get you a good shot, whether that's for himself or somebody else. He doesn't settle. Very rarely does he take a dumb three. He gets inside, uses his dad's strength, and hits a little floater over these guys. It's so exciting to watch him be a reliable guy that can get you a basket, an easy basket, on the wrong end of a run. Just look at the fourth quarter. Murray's on fire, and they're kind of teetering on the should I have taken insurance, and then he starts turning up.
Yeah, sorry. Speaking of dad, do you see on Twitter the shirt he wore?
No.
He wore a shirt that said washed, and it stood for "We are superheroes every day," and it's like a dad's brand, which is just very on brand.
He should give one of those to Ben Simmons. Or perhaps Trae Young, or maybe
Trae Young, Trae Young got overrated chance at the Garden today. Big overrated chance. Very funny.
That's because Celtics fans know ball. Because all the NBA players said he's overrated too.
But Derrick White, you mentioned the threes. Like, it's not like he is taking the catch and shoot threes, but in game 2, he was just pulling up. He was just going to the top of the key.
I don't care.
Pulling
shoot
up
hook shots if they go in.
That's the point. He's getting whatever he wants. He was the clear-cut second best player on the court for the Celtics in this one behind Jayson Tatum. Jaylen Brown didn't even have a bad game. He was very efficient. He was fine, but Derrick White was so good that he took over as the secondary option behind Tatum. And it's so valuable to have guys like that on the roster. And I think it's a big reason why the Celtics fumbled the finals last year. Sorry to bring it up. I know you dislike it, but
I agree. They did.
You look at the finals, Jayson Tatum struggling from 3, Jaylen Brown having a solid series, but still probably not as best as he can be. Marcus Smart not hitting the shots, Horford, Grant Williams, all these guys slumping from 3. And now you have Derrick White with a full year of confidence with the Celtics. You have Malcolm Brogdon, who had a bounce back game in game 2, still not very efficient, but filled up the stat sheet. You have a guy like Sam Hauser who hit 1 3 against the Hawks in game 2, but he also played solid defense. Trae kept
the 3 he made,
ridiculous.
He had no space to shoot that ball.
No, it was an absurd 3.
Yeah,
it was a crazy 3.
Good for Hauser.
Derrick White is what we're talking about, so I'll get back to it. His ability to get whatever he wants on the floor is amazing, and as much as it is him being extremely talented, which he is, it also just goes to show how bad this Hawks team is.
They are bad.
They're just not very good. But Derrick White pulling up from 3, like you said, getting to the rim, that little drive, stop on a dime move he does, like he'll drive full speed to the hoop, stop, 1-2 step, float it right over Capella, right over Okongwu, right over anybody in the paint. It goes in every time. It's amazing. His ability to create his own offense, create offense for others. Like you said, Tatum kind of fumbled back and a couple of those assists for him. And then on the other end, he had 3 blocks again. He stuffed Trae Young. He embarrassed Trae Young. He's playing help defense.
Half-court shot.
I know we had a guy in exactly. We had a guy in the chat earlier this season talk about how Derrick White lets defenders get by him, and he does that. And we explained it. He does that because he's so great at playing defense from behind. He gets blocks from behind. He puts pressure on from behind. And against the Hawks, you saw it early in the game. They were running, and I forget if this was Derrick White in the specific play, but I just thought of this, so I'm going to go on a tangent, and then we'll get back to White. Early in the game, you saw Trae and Clint Capella run the pick and roll, and it just worked. And there really wasn't much the Celtics could do about it, because Capella had to step up to guard Trae Young because he's can make a floater. He's a good player. He's an all-star player. And he threw the lob. Capella threw it down, whatever. Later in the game, you saw, I'm going to use Derrick White. I think it was him, but I'm not sure. Derrick White gets screened. Trae Young gets to that spot. Instead of stepping up to guard Young, Horford stayed on Capella. White hustled around the screen, got over it. I assume it was him, and contested Trae Young from behind. He didn't get a block, but he put enough pressure on Trae Young where he didn't make the floater. And Derrick White is just so good at doing all of those little things on both ends of the court, but specifically on defense. Like, the shot blocking is great. He led the team in total blocks this season, by the way. Most of the Celtics in total blocks. That's nuts. That's crazy for a guard. He's like 6'3", maybe 6'5". I don't know. Awesome is the point.
Maybe 6'5".
6'5", sure. Regardless, he led the team in blocks. Combine that with his elite perimeter play. I tweeted this out. Imagine being Trae Young. You have Marcus Smart on you. You get switched off. You go for a switch. You get Derrick White. You go for another switch. You get Jayson Tatum. You go for another switch. You get Al Horford. You get another switch. Robert, like, you're in hell. Everything Derrick White brings for the Celtics is why they're going to like dominate teams when they're at their best. Because when they're at their best, not only is Jayson Tatum playing well, not only is Jaylen Brown efficient, those guys can go for 30 any night, whatever. But if Derrick White can play at this level, he doesn't even need to be the scorer every night. Just doing all these little things, the blocks, the defense, the ability to create his own shot, creating for others, the rebounding. He was great on the glass tonight. He was fighting for everything. He almost fought Clint Capella for a rebound.
Where it was important to be on the glass because they were getting killed.
He almost fought Clint Capella for a rebound there. Like, every little thing he does is going to be the reason the Celtics make this finals run. And right now he's averaging like 24 points in the playoffs. It's 2 games, but like, you can't understate how great Derrick White has been through the 2 games.
Yeah, again, having that legitimate third creator on the floor is so luxurious. Because like you said, you have 2 guys in Tatum and Brown that can give you 30. And now you sneaky have a third guy that can give you 25. And it's like not forced. It's consistent, easy looks because he is technically the third option. And then on top of that, you have good Marcus Smart, who has reared his head out these last 2 games. You have Brogdon off the bench, who was solid tonight with 13 points. You have Horford that's been steady from 3 all season. And then you have, perhaps, again, Jack called it, a great bench piece in Robert Williams. Robert Williams has come off the bench twice in this series, and he truly is the most perfect build of player to come off the bench because he's a pure energy guy. He comes in, the Celtics did not start game 2 great. They didn't. They were down double digits. Rob Williams comes in, catches a few tough passes in traffic, puts them up for easy layups, gets the offense going a bit.
Yes.
And then he just continues to be a menace all night. Great.
I agree. I was talking to Bobby Krivitsky, Sports Illustrated. He's right over there, so I don't know if you can hear me say his name, but if Robert Williams is aggressive like he was against the Hawks, and I said this similar, I think I said this on here about like if Jayson Tatum makes his pull-up threes or if Derrick White is playing like he did, if Robert Williams is aggressive on the offensive end, asking for the ball, he got DeAndre Hunter on him, asked for the ball, got a mismatch, put up a layup, Bogdanovich on him, same thing, right? Murray, whatever. If he's aggressive like that, it's going to be really hard to beat the Celtics. And obviously I'm able to say all this about all these different, scenarios because the Celtics are just a great basketball team in general, but he's been a guy who over the course of his career, people have like begged him to be more aggressive on offense. Cause I remember early in the season, he was under the hoop and he kicked it out for a 3 and you got mad and I got mad.
Yeah, I was at the game. I almost wanted a cardiac arrest and fell off the balcony.
But to see him in a playoff game, game 2, coming off the bench, beg for the ball in transition with a mismatch on him and finish those shots. And like you said, kickstart an offense that was kind of bad for the first 2 minutes of the game, not getting anything. It's so huge for him to have that in his game. And it adds an entirely new layer to the Celtics offense because when you talk about Robert Williams in offense, you're usually talking about, he's a vertical floor spacer. He can space the floor that way. You can't really step up off of him because he'll throw a lob, similar to the Trae and Capella thing. But if he's also able to add some sort of post move into his game or some sort of finishing ability around the rim with a mismatch on him, like it just another offensive weapon for the Celtics to use. And then on top of that, you're really seeing the defensive player of the year candidate version of Robert Williams that you saw last year again, right? You haven't seen it much this season because of the injuries and he's always working his way back and his role was inconsistent, but off the bench, able to pick his spots, he's really making an impact on the defense.
Do you know how many blocks the Celtics had tonight?
Let me try this actually. I know Al Horford had 3. I know Derrick White had 3. I know Rob had 2. So that's already 8. I think, I think Jayson Tatum has 1, so that's 9. I think Marcus Smart or Jaylen Brown probably had 1, so that'll be 10. So I'll go with 11, and I'll add 1 more to
12.
my score. Oh my God, I was
close.
What did I miss?
I don't know. I don't have the box score. I have team stats just because you were talking about Rob.
JB had 2.
Yeah, he adds a whole new wrinkle to the Celtics offense, like you said, Jack. And this has been the kind of thing I've been begging for all year because I'm a noted 3 hater. I don't like when they shoot a million threes. But this was a prime example. Earlier in this game, they did finish with 45.5% from beyond the arc, but early they weren't very good. I believe it was 5 of 16 to start, below 30% or right at it. And Rob was out there giving them that presence in the paint. They finished with 64 points in the paint tonight against the Hawks. That's huge. Those are reliable buckets you're getting from Rob, reliable buckets you're getting from Derrick White, semi-reliable buckets you're getting from Tatum, who will miss him every once in a while, him and Brogdon. But seriously, Rob's presence and his health and his confidence, along with Derrick White's confidence, the confidence for Derrick White is in full force, gives them that extra, finally, the alternate if things are not going well from beyond the arc. If you're playing like they did tonight, and you're struggling to start and you're able to flip a switch and be like, hey, look, we can get points inside and then make things harder on the defense and make them have to collapse harder on us and get those threes more wide open, then the rim might get a little bit bigger for you. You might be able to make a little bit more threes because they're going to be more open. It doesn't mean teams aren't already planning to have to help in the paint and to collapse and leave shooters. Celtics did an excellent job on pressuring the rim, and they did a great job of moving the ball. That's why you won. In a game you couldn't start well, that's why you won, because you adjusted just enough.
Agree. And Robert Williams was obviously a huge part of that. So he deserves that credit. Another person I did want to talk about as well, and we mentioned it briefly on the pregame show, for a guy that got a lot of heat late in the season, Jayson Tatum's been kind of that guy. He's been doing what he needs to do.
The T jersey might have to go up behind me again.
I think a big part of it is he took 9 threes tonight, but he made 5 of them, and it felt like none of them, or not many of them, were the pull-up three that you don't want him to take. Right? Like he's taking them in rhythm. He's taking them in Philly's offense. It looks like the Celtics offense that started the season 21-6, right? It's looking like that offense again. And if you're the rest of the NBA and Jayson Tatum's back to playing like this, and the Celtics offense is back to this, then you've got to be scared, right? Because if this is the Celtics team, you're going to get in the playoffs. Not going to be easy to beat them, right? Because it wasn't easy to beat them early in the season, and that's what it's going to be in the postseason. And the Hawks are getting the first taste of that, and it's tough for them.
The efficiency is crazy. The shot selection is there. You're not seeing as much lazy basketball, which I really like. On the contrary, you're seeing a ton of lazy basketball from the Hawks. You're seeing a lot of threes being chucked by a team that isn't a great three-point shooting team. They're trying to play along with the Celtics. Be interesting to see the other teams that they face up against. I know Philly does have shooters around Embiid. That's kind of the whole point of Philly. Same with Milwaukee. But can they keep up with the Celtics? If the Celtics are playing like this, I don't think so. Is Philly... Listen, I'm not saying they're the Hawks, but are they going to be able to run with the Celtics at full strength? I know the regular season is not the measuring stick by any means for the playoffs, even though the Celtics bodied the Hawks all season. They're still doing it. So take it with a grain of salt. Bodied Philly all season. Beat them in a game where it was only Tatum that played the second half out of the starting 5 back in February. I mean, and they really almost won that last game with them playing pretty bad, Rob and Jaylen Brown being out, and they had to kick that one away. I mean, the Celtics are ready for these teams. The Celtics have given me belief that they kind of weren't trying in March. Did we text about that?
I did. I texted you something like, it's really funny. They just kind of messed around for a whole month.
Derrick White has made me start to believe. And it sounds like, I mean, last year after game 2, I kind of started to believe too. In the first round, they came back from 17 down against the Nets. That was a big prove-it moment to me. This is less of a prove-it moment because the Hawks are the fellas out there. But the way that Derrick White has been able to impact these games, again, getting good shots, taking smart shots, and being confident enough to take over in situations where the Celtics desperately need somebody to be aggressive on offense and not be lazy and not shoot threes, that adds a whole new dynamic, along with the Rob Williams factor inside and his aggression, to that three-point heavy offense. This is so exciting. This is what I've been begging for all year. And Derrick White's proving to be a star player which is kind of funny. I don't know if any of us, even you, would have thought that last year when they traded for him. You thought he was going to be a good piece, but like
I
don't think anybody expected this to where he's your third best player. He's getting MVP chance at the line. He's blocking shots. He's shooting 11 of 16 from the floor. Did he shoot more shots? He shot more shots than Jaylen Brown.
He did. Derrick White took 16 shots, second most on the team. Tatum at 22, Brown was third at 14, and 11.
And like you mentioned, he was all over the glass in a game where they needed him to be on the glass.
Finished with 7 rebounds, all defensive, all fighting, all, fighting with Capella, fighting with anybody down there. It was huge. And I think as much as it is Derrick White, and he's obviously a huge component of it, it's just the Celtics offense as a whole is getting back to what they were doing, right? They're passing the ball. How many assists they have tonight? Watch me look like an idiot. They had 28 assists on 48 made field goals. It's pretty good, right? You take that.
A lot of assists.
Meanwhile, the Hawks had 21 on 43, so it's similar numbers, but just the way they're playing basketball and the shots they're not getting assists on are Derrick White driving to the hoop. They're Jayson Tatum driving to the hoop. They're good shots. It's not like they're taking the dumb threes that hurt them late in the season. So Celtics offense is seemingly back. And if that's the case, like I said, that's a scary prospect for the rest of the team. And since we're talking about the offense, we might as well talk about the opposite as well, because the Celtics defense has been incredible, right? It's just the same dominant force as to why they were a finals team last year, right? Their defense carried in finals. And before the playoffs, I remember, I think, talking about something along the lines of it's going to be harder to be a great defensive team this year. And so while the Celtics should be that, and they can be that, they should probably focus on their offense. I lied. I was wrong. Hand up, my bad. Defense is amazing. And maybe a part of it is the Hawks being the Hawks, not being great. But even that, like, the Hawks have decent players. Trae Young is a good player. Dejounte Murray is a good player. Bogdanovich can score. DeAndre Hunter got hot early on, right? John Collins is supposed to be a 2010 guy at his peak, but okay.
5 and 6 on 2 of 11.
They are
Yikes.
shutting the Hawks down. They're not letting Trae Young get rhythm in a pick and roll. The only like blip on the radar there is in the third quarter. DeJounte Murray decided he was Steph Curry. Bogdanovich decided he was Klay Thompson. And so they just didn't miss threes in the third quarter. But other than that, like the Celtics are shutting down they did this really well in game 1 and it continued in game 2, but it wasn't as, clear. They're shutting down the perimeter, not giving the Hawks easy looks, and they are completely shutting down the paint. It's very similar to what the Bucks do. The Bucks will let you take some threes if it means protecting the paint. That's why Brook Lopez is so good. The Celtics are doing both, right? And that's not to say they're better defense than the Bucks or they're better whatever it is.
Well, the stats say they are.
Sure. But my point is, like, they're able to have so many guys frantically rotating and run around on the perimeter while simultaneously having Al Horford and Robert Williams ready in the paint to meet guys at the rim. And it's like, it's completely overwhelming Atlanta this series so far.
Trae Young is shook. It's not like, I'm not trying to be funny. He's legitimately shook. He turned the ball over 5 times today. Some of the turnovers he had were like, what are you doing? Like, he just straight threw it out of bounds on one possession, threw it to Quinn Snyder. There was another turnover that him and Murray kind of teamed up for where one of them had the ball and the other was right behind him and then moved and the guy went to shovel it to the guy that wasn't there and it went out of bounds. Like, they are in shambles. To say it pretty simply, like, Trae Young, not good in game 1, only had 16 points. Tonight, maybe a little bit better. 2 of 8 from 3, still not great. Like, he's having to work for everything. Celtics offense is killing these guys. Like, he has to defend. Capella can only play 22 minutes because they're abusing him and making him have to go out of the paint. He said it himself. Like, Al Horford's like making his job, essentially making him useless. Good on Joe. I mean, it's not rocket science to space the floor when you have shooters, but he's making a guy like Capella where he was a player that Celtics fans wanted to trade for 3-4 years ago. Useless. He's literally useless. He's giving them nothing. Trae Young a minus 18 in this game. The bench all minus double digits for the Hawks. Even Bogdanovich, who has made me double down on being a self-loathing white man. I'm sick of him. They need to pack these guys up in 4 games and move on because I don't want to see them lose a game. I don't think they should lose a game. I think they are playing. I mean, this may have been the most dominant one I've seen all season, besides them like piecing teams by like 50 points. Like the few games that they had that just murdered teams.
Even so, it's weird because like like you said, I agree. This is like one of the more dominant wins they've had, but it's not like it's dominant in the sense that they're up by 30 like in game 1, or they're beating the Hornets by
they're just
a million
in
at
control.
Halftime. Exactly.
Which is not a feeling I've had a lot this season. I have not consistently felt like they're in control of games. They are dominating these games, like you said. Like, the defense has a stranglehold on these guys. Go ahead. Sorry.
Good word. I like that word. It's just wherever I'm writing about like the depth sort of for Celtics blog tonight.
Grant.
The depth, by depth, I mean you just drop Grant, like just a one word, like disrespect.
I don't need to say anything else. Everybody knows.
I was listening to, I think it was Tim Legler on the JJ Redick podcast, and he said something about this when it comes to the Celtics and the Bucks. And he said this like averse to what Philly has, and it's like why he has Philly like slightly below those two teams. The Celtics and the Bucks, but we're talking about the Celtics here, have so many guys able, outside of their stars, able to step up and put up 30, to step up and have 10 assists, to step up and be the defensive anchor, to step up and like take on these star roles. And perfect example, last 2 games, Derrick White has been the second to third best player on the Celtics.
Did you get to ask him any questions today?
Derrick?
Yes.
I don't think I asked.
How does that work?
Derrick a question. You just raise your hand, and if they get to you, they get to you.
You should just ask for his confidence. Did anyone ask him that?
I don't think so. I think they asked him about building, like the team building him up, right? And like
it's similar.
So something like that.
He literally looks like a different player. I'm not trying to be funny. He's turned up. He's going to the basket and being super duper aggressive, and it's working. Is it the matchup? Is it a mindset? We'll see in the next round. Hopefully.
I did ask Jayson Tatum about I did ask Jayson Tatum about Derrick White, and he said basically like verbatim, he said Derrick White's too nice of a guy. Like he'll just defer to other people too often. So we constantly just have to tell him like, stop, just go score, go do you. And you're seeing that in these 2 games. But back to the point I was making, like the Celtics and the Bucks too, like Bobby Portis, big time player, Pat Connaughton can explode from deep, right? Even like if you want to look at Brook Lopez that way, like he can score in the post, he can make some threes. The Celtics have so many guys, leading scorer in Nets history, that can step up. Like Brogdon can give you 30, Derrick White can give you 30, Al Horford can give you 20 and 10, Robert Williams can give you 15 rebounds, 5 blocks, Marcus Smart can give you 20 and 10 if he gets hot and he's having a good passing night. Like Sam Hauser can give you 20. Grant Williams gave you 27 in a game 7. Yes, I'm throwing him in here.
Yeah.
But
well, speaking of the Lopez brothers, Robin guys. Lopez, more points than Grant this postseason with 4.
All right. Swiftly moving on. My point is the Celtics are connecting it back to these 2 games. Wherever the Hawks look, somebody's making a play on the Celtics, right? If Trae Young is in the pick and roll, Al Horford's meeting him at the rim, Derrick White's pressuring from behind. If Jayson Tatum passes the ball, Al Horford's in the corner on the other side, ready to make a 3. Ridiculous pass from Jayson Tatum, by the way. That pass was insane. Cross court.
Yeah, it was crazy. Good for him.
Quick. Gary Washburn asked him, he's like, Jason, you looked angry making that pass. Were you mad at a call? Like, what was going on?
He was mad he had to give up the ball, dude. He wanted to take a cool sidestep 3.
Exactly, but just everywhere the Hawks turn, they're getting shut down or they're getting scored on. And I know you called John Collins what'd you call him?
Cone.
A traffic cone.
Him and Capella are cones out there.
Mm-hmm. And as much as that is also true, there were times in this game where Derrick White looked Trae Young in the eyes and just dribbled past him, right? Like,
well, he's like one of the real small cones. Like when they do construction, they have the big cones that are like kind of heavy.
Of course.
He's one of the cones that like they use at soccer practice. Mm-hmm. Like not even like the triangles, like the little like frisbees with a hole in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Tough. Wait, say that again. Oh yes, the soccer cones.
Yeah, but like not even triangular cones. Like these are like essentially a cereal bowl, but they're just missing the bottom part.
Yeah, the best phrase. The best phrase I have. I'm still laughing at the soccer cone, but I'm trying not to laugh loud enough to annoy other people.
Why? Maybe they'll be like, "What are you laughing at?" And you can tell them and make their night. And they'll be like, "That guy's real funny. He should come hang out with all of us."
I think the best way to describe the series so far is the Celtics are just completely overwhelming the Hawks. They just have no answers. and you can see it when the Celtics let up a little bit. The Hawks get a little rhythm, right? The Hawks make a couple threes. In game one, they went on a little run. In this game, Jonte Murray made a couple threes. But all it takes is one timeout or one possession, and the Celtics go right back to just like the Hawks have no control over whether or not they win a series in this game. And I think heading in, we kind of knew that, like, okay, the Celtics are their biggest enemy. They play down to competition a lot, but like now you see why, because you are seeing.
They're not right now. Which rules? They're not playing down to their competition.
I was gonna say they are
playing
a new
thing for all of us. We're kind of adjusting to
it. They are playing like the peak version of the Celtics. Actually, I won't even say that, because I do think they can be better, right? Because Joe Mazzulla was talking about it. Like, the Hawks took more shots than them tonight. The Hawks got more rebounds. Like, the Hawks were winning some of those margins Joe Mazzulla talks about all season. And it wasn't in the sense of like complaining, but he said, he was asked about like going into Atlanta up 2-0, and he said something along the lines of like, I love it because like obviously we're up 2-0, but we can also be better. So I love that duality, which is so true, because like
I like dominant. That. I'm glad he said that.
Yes, as dominant, and I'll say it again, dominant as the Celtics have been through these first two games, there's still another level they can get to. And again, like this version of the Celtics is hard to beat. If they get to that other level, I think it might be impossible. Like this is the version of the Celtics all the fans wanted. Agree. No,
as impressed as I've been, I want to see them do this against Philly. Like, if they can come out and bully the hell out of Philly for like 2 games just to start the series, that's pretty crazy. Like, if they're doing this against Philly, then I'm convinced they can do it against Milwaukee, who, by the way, might not even be there. If Giannis is still going to be hurt, who knows?
They're the Magic Johnson.
Funny, it's like he legitimately like got clapped, and now he's doubtful for tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes with Miami primed to potentially take a 2-0 lead. Who knows? Going back to the fortress playoff that Jimmy. Is the what is it? There's
a new word for it. Heat.
Not the American Airlines Center anymore.
Kaseya Center. Kaseya.
Who cares? It was FTX, and then they stole a bunch of money. So now we all have to learn to call it this thing.
Well, funny enough, FTX stole a bunch of money, and now Kaseya is IT and security management. So maybe they really wanted to change the brand.
I'm not the first person to talk about this, but like Shaq hasn't gotten clapped from all that yet.
He's avoiding it. He's like dodging. Summons.
He's dodging the summons, which is like real funny because he's on live TV. Like, it's not like it's a secret where they're at.
Yeah.
All right, like whatever. But circling back, if they do this kind of dominant shit against Philly, where they're like having them like a boa constrictor and just making them make mistakes, that's gonna be wild. And it's not that crazy to say out loud like that it could happen. You watch them lose to Philly by a minimum amount of points. Granted, the game wasn't as close as the final score said, but it kind of was because the Celtics choked. When Embiid had 52 points, and they barely lost with no Brown or Rob Williams.
And they should have won.
And they should have won.
They should have won.
If they... first of all, I'd love to see it because it would really cause problems in Philly. I don't know why. I have like this weird feeling about Philly this year, though. Like, I don't know if I think the Celtics are going to lose, but I have like this weird, like, they're due for a catastrophe against Philly. Like, it almost feels like 2004 Yankees. Like, the Yankees had owned the Red Sox for years, like, whatever, like, dominated and then blew the lead. This is probably really bad for the vibes.
As in the Celtics would be the Yankees in this comparison.
Yeah. Like,
I was confused.
It feels like the time may be up. But I don't know. This also feels like it could be the Celtics' year, and for them to screw around with that, I don't think will happen. And I think they are starting to realize, like, oh man, we're like way better than Atlanta at least. Let's see how way better we are than Philly or Milwaukee, who we beat by 1 million in late March in a game where both teams tried.
I'll say this. I use the word overwhelmed in the Hawks series. I truly believe if and when the Celtics play the Hawks or the Sixers in the next round, they will do the same thing. I think it would take
Philly. If the Celtics come out and they do what they're doing to the Hawks to the Sixers, you're maybe going to see some changes to Philly. I don't know if that means they get rid of Embiid, but Harden is going to be gone. That's step one.
I think
they're going to keep Maxey around. He's real young. Is Harris going to stay there with that big contract?
I think
I don't know.
Philly's a good team, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like they're not a good team. They're the third best team in the East. They might be the third best team in the NBA if we're going to call a spade here, because the West is looking yikes. But with the way the Celtics are playing defense right now, and again, I know it's the Hawks. I'm going to say it again. I've said it a million times since the playoffs started. The Hawks stink. It's been my favorite phrase. Going to continue it.
They're bad.
With Marcus Smart playing defense the way he is, by the way, back, depoy, legend, and I'm going to get Jaren Jackson Jr.
Back.
Credit to JJJ. Deserves it this year. Marcus Smart forever and always the defense player of the year. Can't take it away from him. Depoy. Also, I'm pretty sure this is off the dome. He is the first defensive player of the year to not be an all-star at any point in their career since Marcus Camby. So shout out UMass legend Marcus Camby, I believe.
Yes. You're right about that.
Excuse me, I have to cough. My bad. I had to mute. Marcus Smart playing defense on the perimeter the way he is. Derrick White playing defense on the perimeter and on the interior the way he is. Even Brogdon was solid on defense tonight. They were hunting him in switches and he played fine. Sam Hauser stepping up on defense when he needs to, which is something you didn't expect. Grant Williams hasn't played yet, but you know what he can do against Embiid defensively. You know he's able to body him around. I'm going to take a step further. Even Blake Griffin, like you said, in that 76ers game, he was the first guy. Like, as far
Blake Griffin, the only guy to get a stop on Embiid all game.
And then obviously there is Al Horford, Robert Williams, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown. But as far deep as you go on the Celtics roster, everybody can play defense. Against a team like Philly, who they have defenders, right? Like they can play defense. Embiid probably could be a defensive player of the year candidate. He's great. If the Celtics are able to overwhelm Harden, take away those passes, they're able to just let Embiid take those middies. I do think that's a fine strategy, right? Because again, he had 52 and they won the game on a night where Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams weren't playing and they almost still lost.
I think the Celtics do a fine job with Embiid.
And my thing is, if you're shutting them down on that end, like I just don't see a way the Sixers win, right? And so if the Celtics are locked in on defense like they are right now against the Hawks, I think they overwhelm the Sixers just the same way.
Yeah, I mean, James Harden's maybe better than Trae Young. It's like half a joke, but like, I don't know. They're playing Brooklyn, who might be the worst team in the playoffs. I know you said you'd rather play the Hawks than a million other teams, and the Nets were on there, but they're pretty close. It's not that outrageous to say like they're at the same level. So Philly's having a similar series to the Celtics. I don't know, like. The only thing that semi-concerns me, and it's such a weird thing to say out loud, is PJ Tucker, because he did a really good job on Tatum in the conference finals last year with Miami. Tatum struggled. He was the primary defender. He's a dog. Like, you saw him make 3 straight threes in Philly, 2-3 weeks ago? Ridiculous, but he did it. I'm not saying he's going to be the one that kills them. But
Blake, is this who you're talking about?
No, PJ Tucker.
Oh, Tucker. Sorry. I got confused.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going to be there for Tatum. That's like the only thing that's like a little bit eye-opening. But I don't know. Tatum
hasn't been as good on defense this year, though. He's been a step slow. He's been.
Tatum hasn't played good against Philly.
It's not the same level as John Collins, but traffic cone. I'm just saying now. In case.
What's Tatum's numbers against Philly this year? They're not as good as everyone else.
Would you like to guess?
He's probably around like 25, but on low splits.
Jayson Tatum. Stats against 76ers this year. Good old stat muse. Jayson Tatum has averaged 21 points, 9.8 rebounds, 6.3 assists in 4 games on 44% shooting from the field.
Terrible.
28.6 from 3. Not good.
They're still 3-1 against him, but terrible. So Sam's right. Stats back me. The Sixers do an okay job at defending Tatum is really what I mean. So I'm interested to see how he handles that. He's definitely stepped it up in this Hawks series, which I'm thrilled about. I'm really happy. Tatum looks like a guy I can rely on again. I feel like I'm watching early bubble Tatum where he killed the Sixers in the first round.
If you would like some, what do you want to call it? A bright side, or if you want something to
silver lining
to hype you up. Derrick White against Philly this year.
Nasty.
16.3 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 58.1% from the field, 45% from three. So he'll be ready to rumble playing the Sixers.
I hope so. And I hope Tatum's ready, because that is a bit concerning that his splits are so bad against Philly.
I don't know. I feel like it's the playoffs, and
it is the playoffs.
Look, heading into the playoffs, I think one of us said this, or both of us said this. We said it was either going to be they lose game one and they have to use that to wake it up, or they were just messing around because they were bored of the regular season. And then once the playoffs started, they were going to turn it up. And right now, it looks like the latter of those two is what's happening, because they're turning it up. They're just like, they're killing it, right? They're killing it. And so it looks great right now. We usually say it's hard to talk about the Celtics when they're playing well, but when they're playing this well, it's a little bit easier.
Once the playoffs, it's easier too. I almost wish, like, when you're the higher seed, you could pick when your home games are. Like, I almost don't want them to start the next series at home. I feel like they're due for a bit of a wake-up call after this Atlanta team. I don't know. I sound really shook. Yeah. I don't know, man. I have this weird feeling about Philly. I don't know if I think they're going to lose. I just feel like if they're going to lose to anybody, it might be them. Like, the storyline is there. Like, they've kicked their ass for so long. Like, Embiid's about to win the MVP. Like, if this is Philly's year, they're going to have to beat the Celtics. Like, it's just a weird, like, all these stars are aligning for it to maybe happen. I sure as hell hope I'm wrong, but like, Tatum was bad against them this year.
Yeah, but they're 3-1.
They are 3-1.
All right,
and they're much deeper than just Tatum.
They are, and we talked about that for a whole segment. Yeah. All right, do you want to talk briefly about the rest of the league? Quick,
let's do rat list
and then get out, or do you want to do rat
list? We'll go into that.
Into the rest of the league talk quick.
You bet.
All right. Well, then I will quickly talk about the rat list, because remember at the start of the show when I said the red line would not be on the rat list because it's getting old.
Is it back?
I lied, because I go online. Shuttle buses will replace service from Park Street to JFK UMass from 8:45 p.m. to the end of service on April 18th through the 20th. You want to know what date it is, Sam?
April 18th.
Bingo. So Jack
Shout
will
out
be taking,
to Jim Jeffries. If you know, you know.
Jack will be taking the bus from Park Street to JFK.
Dude, just
UMass
Uber.
Tonight. No, but it's not that hard. It's just annoying that I have to take a bus.
Uber.
Right? The bus
just
is free.
Uber.
The bus is free. There are signs that'll show me where to go.
This is what you're worried about, money bags? You're worried about the Uber fee?
I'm not worried about the money. I'm just worried. I'm just annoyed. It's just an irritant. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just annoying.
That's the whole point of having money. Is so you don't have to be irritated.
I don't know. There's no point in taking an Uber. I'll just take the bus. It's just rat list for the red line for making me do it. Rat line for the red line for just not list for the red line for not working. That's it. Right. That's all I got.
My rat list. It's like a split decision rat list for Draymond and Sabonis. Easy transition. But listen, if you're listening to this, you probably know what I'm talking about. They got tangled up yesterday in game 2. Draymond stomped the hell out of Sabonis. Kind of ruled. Everyone got mad, except people got mad at different people. So half the people were mad at Sabonis because he grabbed his foot. Half the people were mad at Draymond because he has a history of liking to kick people, but also because he stomped the hell out of Sabonis. And I think it's hilarious. I thought it was great. It's almost anti-rat list because it gave me great entertainment all day. I was literally like cackling at my desk, watching people tweet about the stomp, watching people react to it when I woke up this morning. It was a really great vibe. Also, rat list Grizzlies. They lost to the Lakers. They let Austin Reeves say he's him. The him phrase needs to die like real fast. I wish Draymond would stomp that. Other rat list, Hawks are rat list because they really started to try with no time left when they were down 20 today, double teaming in the final minute. I really don't like that shit. Pisses me off. I wish you would just let the game end. You already lost. If you wanted to try, you should have tried earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a hardo thing that these teams do. Like, ooh. Congrats, you lost by 13. You probably still didn't cover. If that's what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, any other rat lists? I'm flipping through my head right now.
I don't think I got
Devin Booker rat list. Devin Booker gets blocked on the final play in that Phoenix Clippers game and gets blocked. Immediately starts complaining about the call. So fast that the ball is still in play, and he gets absolutely drilled and then doubles over when Westbrook hits him when he throws it off him and it goes out of bounds. So bad look on Booker for complaining.
Very funny.
Good on Westbrook for shooting 3 of 19 and winning the game for them. I hit a lot of rat lists. I did a good little recap for you. Mixed segments there. How do you like that? Sam watches other games. Sam knows ball.
Let's briefly look at all the other series. We can spend like 30 seconds on each.
Denver bullied the hell out of punching bag Gobert.
Nuggets, Timberwolves, easy. Grizzlies, Lakers. Looks like the Lakers are good, which is
I don't know if I would say that. I thought Memphis was bad in that game. Plus, Ja got hurt.
They were.
If you're also again, we're gonna say it again. I don't know why everyone decided they want to give the Lakers a bunch of free stuff. Like they got Rui Hachimura for 3 seconds. They got D'Angelo Russell for nothing. They got rid of Westbrook for giving up half the picks that they were supposed to have to give up to get rid of him. Like I know, like it's better than getting nothing if you're a Utah to get one of those picks, but I'm pretty sure it's still top 4 protected. So how good is it really? I don't know. Stop helping these guys. They literally dug themselves in a hole. Stop helping them get out of it. And now they've won game 1. Ja's hurt. Yep. He's probably going to play tomorrow. If I had to guess from all the stuff that came out today, it's not a broken hand. He's clean. They said it's what did they say? Tissue damage or tissue bruise or whatever the hell they said. He's going to play. It's on his shooting hand. Which kind of shooting? I don't know.
Kings, Warriors.
Kings, Warriors. Jack, you have a prediction on this. You said 7 games, and you said the home team wins every single game. You're right so far. The beam has been lit up twice.
I was talking about today. TD Garden, widely viewed as one of the best crowds. Second in the survey among players, Golden One Center. And it shows. Because in the playoffs, they have been
big fan of the light the beam chant. I think it's fire. Cool. Obviously, the idea is good. Everybody talks about it.
Beam is cool. Celtics also have some lights in their arena now. Down every aisle of stairs, they have flashing lights. They have flash green and white and stuff.
Don't care.
Cool. Very cool.
What's be cool as a banner?
Phoenix Clippers.
You know why you need a beam is because you don't have banners.
Clippers Phoenix playing right now. Phoenix up by 6 with 10 minutes left in the third. Came back.
Wow, Chris Paul going to upset Scott Foster.
Clippers were up by 1, or excuse me, Clippers were up by 10 earlier, but a little comeback. Clippers won game 1, so they are up.
How's Westbrook doing?
He's leading them in scoring, 17 points, 6 of 10, 2 of 3.
Why they're losing.
So there you go. There's that series. Miami upsets the Bucks in game 1. Giannis not looking like he's going to play in game 2. Miami could go up 2-0, head home to their
fortress.
There's that Cavaliers Knicks. Great game 1. Maybe the best game of the series. Actually, the Kings Warriors been best. But then Cavs blow them out tonight as we're recording this in game 2.
Punked them.
Not great.
And then Jared Allen almost killed Randall. So there's that. Which I do not condone, even though I think Randall's a bum. I don't think you should try and undercut him. I hate the undercut. Such a terrible thing to watch.
And then Sixers Nets is a lot of Sixers.
Who cares?
Nets just aren't good enough. Let's be real here.
They should have simmed the first round for those 2 series and just let them, scrimmage.
Anyways, I think we can call it there.
We can call it. I'm tired. You have to go home.
Bus.
I have to be up in 5.5 hours.
Well, good luck to you, sir.
Sam dies. There's your title card for the show.
My 2 plugs. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you. We're at like 303 subscribers. Help us out. Leave us a rating on Spotify. Hit 3 dots. Leave 5 stars. I believe so. 3 dots, hit 5 stars. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a review and leave 5 stars there. And if you're not going to leave 5 stars, go be mean to us in the YouTube comments because you might as well. So that's all I got.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you are watching, Jack said it. You're on YouTube. How about them Celtics? Make sure you subscribe. We're climbing the ladder. Slowly but surely, it is playoff time. We'll be here before every single playoff game, whether that is
304.
Oh,
304. Look at us go.
305. Whoever does it next, maybe signs for Miami. But we are here before every Celtics game, a half hour before, also on Facebook, which is just the name of the podcast. If you want more of us besides that, you can find us at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're there at How About Them C's. We're also on those streaming services, Spotify, Apple. Make sure you follow us there. Leave a nice review. And you can follow Jack on Twitter at Jackson1NBA. He's doing all kinds of good work. He's at these games. He's not traveling to Atlanta. But
new article dropping potentially later this week.
Yes, eyeball emojis, big article.
Yes,
very handsome individual is going to be coming out. Jack has been working for months on this, so make sure you read it. I'll retweet it, even though it'll be a scheduled post and you won't be awake when it goes up.
Absolutely.
Yes, I will retweet it. And if you want more of me, you can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. I'll tweet out pictures of green bananas. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe. Come on.